This video we are going to discuss about duodenum. So what is duodenum? Actually it's a C-shaped structure which is like around the pancreas. You can see this is the pancreas, right? Pancreas head, pancreas tail. Okay, so this is C-shaped structure which is having like 4 parts. So this is the first part, this is the second part, this is the third part, this is the fourth part. Okay, so duodenum actually means like 12 fingers according to Greek word. Okay, so what it means, 12 fingers. And like it is duodenum, if you see, it's the shortest and widest, and it is also a most fixed part of small intestine. Like if you see the jejunum and ileum which come from here, right, they're like movable, but especially if you see the duodenum, that too, especially the first part of duodenum is a fixed part, it is not movable. Okay, why the duodenum is not movable? Because it is not having any mesentery from backside, whereas if you see jejunum and ileum, they are freely movable because of the mesentery which is hanging from the posterior abdominal wall. Okay, so if you see the duodenum, it is extending from the pylorus of the stomach. You know, above you have the stomach end part, that is pylorus. So it will start from the pylorus part and it will end at the pylorus to duodenojejunal flexure. That is between the duodenum and the jejunum you have one flexure that is called as duodenojejunal flexure. And if you see, it is like a curved around the head of pancreas in the form of letter C. So it looks like a letter C. Okay, and if you see, it is like above the level of umbilicus. So for example, here you have umbilicus, then above the level of umbilicus you have our duodenum. Okay, and it is the having first, second, like it is opposite to the first, second and third lumbar vertebrae. So opposite to L1, L2 and L3. Okay, now coming to the length and its different parts. So duodenum is actually 25 centimeter as whole. It is 25 centimeter long and it is divided into 4 parts, as I said. The first part is also called as superior part, which is just only 5 centimeter long. And next comes the second part. It is descending part and it is 7.5 centimeter long. Next coming to the third part, which is the horizontal part, which is 10 centimeter long. And next comes the fourth part, which is ascending part, and that is ascending means it will go somewhat like this. Okay, and this is 2.5 centimeter long. No need to remember the lengths of everything, just remember as a whole it is 25 centimeter long. That's it. Now coming to the peritoneal relations of duodenum. Actually, duodenum, if you see, it is mostly retroperitoneal. Retroperitoneal means it is outside the peritoneum layer, so it is covered only by one layer of peritoneum, especially on its anterior side. Okay, and it is except at its two ends where it is suspended by folds of peritoneum, and it is therefore mobile. That is, these two ends are mobile, but the first part is completely fixed. Okay, and coming to the first part of duodenum, now let us discuss about the first part of duodenum. So let me write it here, first part. Okay, so the first part of duodenum begins at the pylorus, yeah, right, and passes backward upward to the right and meets the second part of superior duodenal flexure here. This is the superior duodenal flexure. So in the first part, the first point is it is from pylorus to superior duodenal flexure. Okay, and next coming to its peritoneal relations of the first part, especially about first part, it's like proximal 2.5 centimeter is movable and it is attached to lesser omentum above. So here this proximal 2.5, it is attached to lesser omentum above plus greater omentum below. Okay, next, if you see this distal 2.5 centimeters of the first part of duodenum, it is fixed and it is retroperitoneal and covered by peritoneum only on anterior aspect. So that is important. It's retroperitoneal, that is covered only on anterior side. Anterior side by what? By peritoneum, of course. Okay, So these are the 3 points of first part of duodenum. That's it. Now coming to its relations, visceral relations, like what is present anterior to it, posterior to it. So let us see. So first relation of the first part of duodenum, anteriorly it is having a quadrate lobe of liver. Okay, this is called as quadrate lobe of liver, and also it has gallbladder along with that. So quadrate lobe of liver, gallbladder are the anterior relations. So let us write them. Anteriorly, quadrate lobe of liver, plus you have gallbladder. Okay, next coming to posteriorly. Posteriorly, if you see through the first part of duodenum, you will have one artery that is called as gastroduodenal artery, and also you'll have bile duct. So this artery is gastroduodenal artery. Next you have a bile duct here. Okay, bile duct, and also you'll have portal vein. So these are its posterior relations. So gastroduodenal artery, bile duct, portal vein. So posteriorly, gastroduodenal artery. Okay, next you have bile duct. So you have an artery, duct and vein. What is that vein? Portal vein. Those are posterior relations of first part of duodenum. Now coming to superiorly. Superiorly you will find a foramen. So superiorly you will find a foramen, that is the epiploic foramen. So I will show this original diagram also, okay, at the last. So superiorly you will have the epiploic foramen. So what is present inferiorly? If you see inferiorly, there is head and neck of pancreas. Okay, inferiorly, head plus neck of pancreas. So this is all about first part of duodenum. So let me show this original diagram. Once again, let us revise all the anterior and posterior, superior, inferior relations. So here you can see this shows the first part of duodenum. Actually this is a sagittal section. In the sagittal section, if you see, this is the first part of duodenum. So if you see anteriorly, there is caudate lobe of liver and also gallbladder, but it is not shown here. Okay, so there will be quadrate lobe of liver, gallbladder, and next coming to posterior relations. Posteriorly, if you see, this is the bile duct, this is the gastroduodenal artery, and here you have the portal vein, right? So these are the posterior relations. Next, if you see superiorly, here there is an epiploic foramen, and if you see inferiorly, there is also head and neck of pancreas. Okay, so all these relations you can see here clearly, the posterior relations. This is the first part of duodenum. You can see posteriorly you're having a gastroduodenal artery, this is a bile duct, and this is a portal vein. Okay, so by this we have completed the first part of duodenum clearly. Now going to the second part of duodenum. In the second part of duodenum, if you see, so let us draw, no need to draw, you can see here, this is the second part, right? Here this part is second part of duodenum. It is 7.5 centimeter. It is beginning at superior duodenal flexure, right, and passes down to reach lower border of third lumbar vertebra. It curves towards left at inferior duodenal flexure to become continuous with third part. So you can write the second part is from superior duodenal flexure to inferior duodenal flexure. Okay, and at the rate of level of L3 lumbar vertebra. Okay, now it is continuous with the third part, right? Now coming to its relations, like peritoneal relations. Okay, peritoneal relations. It is retroperitoneal, means it is also fixed. Okay, it is retroperitoneal, it is fixed, and anterior surface is only covered by peritoneum except near the middle where it is directly related to colon. So only anterior side here it is, but in the middle part it is directly related to the colon. You know, here you will have the transverse colon, right? So it is directly related to colon, only in its upper part, that to anterior surface. So here also it is retroperitoneal, and on anterior surface it is covered by peritoneum. Next, coming to the visceral relations. In the visceral relations, if you see anteriorly to the second part of duodenum, Anteriorly you have right lobe of liver. Here you are having quadrate lobe, means here you will have the right lobe of liver. Okay, and you will have the transverse colon anteriorly. Here you will have transverse colon below, right? So transverse colon, and also you will have the root of transverse mesocolon, and also you will have the small intestine part. Okay, so let us write them all. So anteriorly I wrote A, means anteriorly there is right liver lobe. Okay, and transverse colon plus mesocolon. So what is mesocolon? You know, along with peritoneum it is called mesocolon. Okay, transverse colon and mesocolon, and also you have small intestine. So this is about anterior relations. So what is forming the posterior relations for the second part of duodenum? So here, okay, so posteriorly you have anterior surface of right kidney. So especially if you see the second part, posteriorly you will have the right kidney, and also you will have right renal vessels. Of course, if you have right kidney, let us draw kidney like this. Okay, so right kidney will have right renal vessels, and also you have right edge of inferior vena cava, right psoas major muscle. So let us write them. So posteriorly, right kidney, right renal vessel, right edge of inferior vena cava, right IVC. Okay, so let me show the same in diagram after completing medial and lateral sides also. So medial to the second part of duodenum. So what is medial side? This side. What is lateral side? This side. So medial to second part of duodenum, you have head of pancreas and bile duct, and laterally you will have right colic flexure. Okay, so medially you have head of pancreas plus bile duct, and laterally you will have right colic flexure. I'll show the original diagram. Okay, so let us see all the relations of second part of duodenum. So here you can see this is the second part of duodenum. Okay, anteriorly if you see there is a right lobe of liver, and also there is transverse colon, and also of course if transverse colon, then there will be transverse mesocolon also, and also there is small intestine. You can see the loop of small intestine clearly. These are the anterior relations. Okay, so coming to the posterior, you can see this is a duodenum. So posterior relations of duodenum, clearly you can see there is a right kidney, and also there are like right renal vessels here, and also there are like right edge of inferior vena cava, and also there is that's it, right inferior vena cava, right? So these are all the posterior relations, and also there is right psoas major muscle. So these are posterior relations to second part of duodenum. Next, coming to medial side. So if you see medial side, it is not shown of course here, but you can understand on the medial side there will be head of pancreas, right? And also there will be bile duct. In this diagram only you can see, of course this is the first part, but continue the second part, then you can see head of pancreas, and also on the medial side you will see bile duct. You can see clearly bile duct, and on the lateral side you can see right colic flexure of the duodenum. Okay, right colic flexure. So now let us understand about third and fourth part directly by means of diagram. Okay, so you can see this is the third part and this is the fourth part. So if you see the third part, it is beginning at the inferior duodenal flexure here. Okay, inferior duodenal flexure on the right side of lower border of L3 vertebra, passes horizontally upward in front of inferior vena cava, and end by joining fourth part in front of abdominal aorta. So actually here lies abdominal aorta near to the fourth part. So it is starting from, so as we discuss, the second part is from supraduodenal flexure to infraduodenal flexure. Then the third part is from inferior duodenal flexure to fourth part of duodenum. Okay, and if you see the third part, it's peritoneal relations. It is also retroperitoneal and it is fixed, so that anterior surface is only covered by peritoneum, except in the medial plane where it is crossed by superior mesenteric vessels and by root of mesentery. So actually the root of, I'll show the diagram. So you can see actually here the root of mesentery, that is the superior mesenteric vessel, all these are passing. So only at this point there is no peritoneum, but all other side of third part, here there is peritoneum, okay, covering on anterior side. Next, coming to its visceral relation, so let us check out directly by means of this diagram. So if you see anteriorly to this third part of duodenum, you have the superior mesenteric artery and vein. So that is nothing but superior mesenteric vessels are anterior to third part of duodenum. And also posteriorly, if you see, so these are the posterior relations. So posteriorly, if you see, there is right psoas major muscle, okay, and there is also right testicular or ovarian vessels. So you can see gonadal artery means there are like right testicular ovarian vessels, okay, and there is inferior vena cava and there is abdominal aorta with origin of inferior mesenteric artery over here. So these are all the posterior relations of a third part of duodenum. Next, if you see superiorly, there is head of pancreas and also with uncinate process. So for that you should see this diagram what we have drawn. So if you see third part of duodenum, superiorly you have head of pancreas and uncinate process of pancreas, and inferiorly if you will see, of course you will find the coils of jejunum here, right? So that is what they are saying. So let us first try to write the relations. So anteriorly you will have superior mesenteric artery and vein, of course the root of mesentery, okay. And if you see posteriorly you have right psoas major, right ureter, right testicular or ovarian or testicular vessels, and you have inferior vena cava, okay, IVC, and you have abdominal aorta plus inferior mesenteric artery. So these are all the posterior relations of third part of duodenum. And superiorly you will see head of pancreas plus uncinate process, and inferiorly you will see the coils of jejunum. So finally we have come to the fourth part of duodenum. The fourth part of duodenum is just 2.5 centimeter, and you can see this upwards, running upwards onto the left of aorta and up to upper border of second lumbar vertebra. It turns forwards to become continuous with jejunum at duodenojejunal flexure. From here jejunum will start, right? So let us see its relations. Peritoneum, of course it is retroperitoneal, covered only anteriorly. So its terminal part is suspended in uppermost part of mesentery and it is mobile. So only the fourth part of duodenum terminal part is mobile. All these are retroperitoneal and covered only on anterior surface. So coming to visceral relations of this fourth part of duodenum, let us see the diagram directly and understand. So here you can see this is the fourth part of duodenum which you can see. So if you see anteriorly there is a transverse colon, okay. Of course it is not shown in this diagram, but anteriorly you will have transverse colon, transverse mesocolon, and the lesser sac and stomach. So these are all the anterior relations to fourth part. If you see posteriorly, you will have the left sympathetic chain. This one you can see left sympathetic chain. You will have left psoas major muscle, and you will have left renal vessels. You can see left renal artery, okay. So left renal vessels, and you'll have left testicular vessels, okay, left gonadal artery you can see here, okay, and you'll have inferior mesenteric vein. So this is inferior mesenteric vein. So these are all the posterior relations of a fourth part of duodenum. So on the right side if you see, there is attachment of upper part of root of mesentery, okay, and if you see on the left side there will be left kidney. So as we have discussed here, on the third part of duodenum there is right kidney. So same like here, there will be left kidney, okay, on the left side, okay. and also there will be left ureter, of course, with the left kidney, and superiorly there will be body of pancreas. So fourth part, you can say superiorly you will have the body of pancreas. Remember, to the right side it will have upper part of root of mesentery, to the left side it will have left kidney, left ureter. Okay, so these are the relations of fourth part of our duodenum. Okay, so hope you understood this. And the next